All right, I want to get to our next guest today. So if those of you have been following, if those of you who used to follow the WEF thought that things were good now that Klaus Schwab has stepped down, well, an interesting shakeup reported over at the Wall Street Journal. Since Klaus Schwab has stepped down, he is now under investigation by that same organization that he used to head up. So joining us now to dig into all of these details is investigative journalist, associate director of research at the Government-Accountability Institute. He's also the co-author with John on Fallout and the author of Control Oligarchs. Seamus Bruner. Seamus, great to see you.
Hey, Amanda, great to see you. John, good to see you.
Hey, Seamus. All right.
All right. So, I think for a lot of Americans, it took COVID for people to really pay attention to what the World Economic Forum was and Klaus Schwab's hand in everything. He stepped down. Now he's being investigated. What's happening?
Yeah, well, Klaus Schwab took a step back a year ago. He moved to a non-executive chairman role. And for those who don't know who Klaus Schwab is, he is the founder, chairman, and head of the World Economic Forum, or he was until a couple of days ago. He founded it over 55 years ago. It's in Davos, Switzerland. It's where all the globalist elites fly to every year to come up with new plans to lecture us on climate change and come up with other schemes to control our lives. Well, a whistleblower just last week sent a letter that Klaus Schwab was misusing World Economic Forum monies, and he resigned quickly. I mean, no fanfare, no going away ceremony, nothing like that. He resigned, indicating that there maybe are some financial irregularities that the whistleblower pointed out. There's now a full-blown investigation headed up by WEF. And my thought on the whole thing is, well, Klaus Schwab has been enriching himself at the World Economic Forum for 55 years. I mean, he set up the thing on $5,500, $6,000 back in the 70s. He turned it into a $500 million per year juggernaut based on corporate sponsorships from entities like BlackRock, Nestle, Microsoft, all the big multinational corporations. $500 million a year the World Economic Forum brings in. He's been paying himself, his wife, his children, even his nephew have been on the payroll of the World Economic Forum. His palatial mansion is right up against the Davos headquarters. By the way, the WEF spent $80 million to adjoin his house to the campus of the World Economic Forum. So that's a pretty large financial benefit. And so, it's a little too late. I think the WEF just wants him out. He plans to die in office. That's according to him. And it's time for new leadership is what this signals.
That's amazing. What's remarkable about it is that the World Economic Forum is ground zero for the globalism movement, the idea that if you create a large central government in the world, things will get better for the everyday people. But it's really perhaps another example of control oligarchs and oligarchs, right? Because this guy and others in there live pretty high on the hog on this institution that's trying to make the case that this is going to be better for everyday you and me.
Yeah, John, you're exactly right. I mean, for decades, really, these people, these multinational corporations, these globalists, these billionaire folks have been flying to Davos on their private jets, coming up with new ways to hoodwink the masses into thinking that their interests are the same as the Davos interests. They're not. So Klaus Schwab came up with this thing called stakeholder capitalism, and it sounds very nice. Everybody gets to be a stakeholder. It sort of sounds akin to communism, but when you peel back the layers and read all of his manifestos, as I have, stakeholder capitalism is basically fascism. It's the corporations get into bed with the government, and they form these public-private partnerships where the public has no say, so it's ironically titled stakeholder capitalism. And, COVID, you brought up at the beginning, is a perfect example of what the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab and these globalists have in mind, where they get to issue diktats, control our lives, lock us down, shut down our businesses, ruin our children's education, while they all get richer. I calculated in the book Control Oligarchs that their net worths all skyrocketed as our businesses were shut down during the pandemic. So good riddance to Klaus Schwab. The next guy up is, I mean, not entirely better, but, it's an end of an era for sure.
Yeah, maybe it sends a little bit of a message. Speaking of corruption and public doubt over someone's activities and involvement in something, Anthony Fauci, in a very, very convenient time frame, his net worth basically exploded. It doubled to $15 million between 2019 and 2023, right when COVID was happening. Regardless of whether there is a tangible financial association there, it's just, it is a really, really bad look that he possibly, benefited from this.
Yeah, that's right. We talk about it in Control Oligarchs. I would recommend Bobby F. Kennedy's book, The Real Anthony Fauci. He talks about it. And actually, I think the man first on the case with the royalties and the patents was one John Solomon back in, I think, 2005. John, you blew the lid off of how these guys at NIH and in the scientific establishment get rich. But it's an outrage that Anthony Fauci was the highest paid government employee.
Secretary, the vice president, is pretty remarkable, just crazy. Seamus, real quickly, I think as people look out, there was this huge expectation that the Trump administration would bring all sorts of accountability and transparency, but it isn't coming fast enough for the people who really thought it would be instantaneous. But most times, things like this, even when the good guys are in charge, it still takes some time to get through compliance with the laws. Do you think we will see both a lot more transparency and a lot more accountability, or do you think people will be ultimately disappointed by the final record of the Trump administration?
Well, that's a tough question, John. People like Elon Musk and the tech bros, their motto is to move fast and break things, and they have hit the brick wall of Washington, D.C. The bureaucracy does not move fast, and things don't easily break, and you don't get a whole lot of innovation in D.C. So I'm not totally surprised that it wasn't as easy as just exposing some of the grotesque contracts and trimming the fat, and all of a sudden Washington would roll over. Time will tell. I can't pass judgment on the end result, but like many people, I am very disappointed at the speed at which things are happening. We all want we want indictments, we want arrests, we want people to go to jail. There's so many crimes that have been committed over the past 10 years. I mean, from Hunter Biden and all of the things that you and I have reported, John, the Biden crime family, all of them, and then the Clintons and everybody else, and then Fauci. I mean, people get sick of hearing about all of the awful things happening. They want justice. They want accountability. So I'm with them. If there aren't arrests, if there aren't people facing jail time for all of the things that have been foisted upon us, I think everybody will be disappointed.
Yeah.
Seamus, before we let you go, over the last few months, we have heard a lot of actually undercover investigations from folks like James O'Keefe and Project Veritas regarding government employees. People are getting paid by the American people via American tax dollars at NASA, at DOD, at the Department of Education, who are actively fighting against President Trump, his agenda that these people who are paying them voted for. Are you surprised that this is happening, that it seems to be as prevalent as it is, the fact that they are able to capture it on video? And do you think that on a parallel track, maybe there will be more whistleblowers coming out, blowing the whistle about these exact people?
Yeah, I mean, to the previous point, we've seen the videotapes, we've seen all the whistleblowers, we have all the information we need for accountability. I mean, I think there will be more. I think I've heard a lot of people turning from Democrat to Republican just in my local jurisdiction. The state Senate minority leader just changed party affiliation from Democrat to non-affiliated. Lots of people on the left are changing side, and that means a lot of people in the bureaucracy are seeing that they're on the wrong side of history. So I expect more whistleblowers to come forward. But again, we need the accountability.
Absolutely. Seamus Bruner, always a pleasure having you here with us. Thanks for picking this apart.